let's be real, we are all absolutely bombarded with headlines every single day. So how do you even begin to separate the stuff that's just noise from the stories that actually reveal something deeper about the world we live in? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Find the signal in all that noise.
You know the feeling, right? One minute you're reading about a huge corporate takeover, the next it's a political firestorm, then a border skirmish. It's just this constant, overwhelming stream of information. It is so easy to feel completely lost in it all.
I mean, just look at today. You've got Paramount reportedly launching this massive, hostile takeover bid for Warner Bros. Discovery. That's a potential earthquake in the media world right there.
At the exact same time, a huge debate is flaring up in India's parliament over the national song Vande Mataram. Passions are running high on that one.
And meanwhile, halfway across the world, tensions are escalating again between Thailand and Cambodia, with new reports of clashes right on the border. And then, just to mix it up, you see that the new film Dhurandhar is absolutely smashing it at the box office, crossing the 120 crore rupee mark. So with all of this flying at you, how on earth do you decide what actually matters? Well, it turns out that among all that noise, there are two stories that really stand out. They have, as our source material puts it, major ongoing implications. You know, these are the kinds of stories that truly test the systems we all depend on. So, our first signal from the noise, it takes us straight to Japan. A massive earthquake has just struck, putting the country's legendary disaster preparedness to the ultimate test. And this number says it all. A magnitude 7.6. I mean, that is just an immense amount of power being unleashed, striking just off the coast of northern Japan. So let's just break down what's happening on the ground. Now, the good news, if you can call it that, is that the initial major tsunami warning was downgraded to an advisory. But the risk is definitely not over. We're talking about 90,000 people being told to evacuate, and the government immediately spinning up an emergency task force. This is the system kicking into high gear. And this is where it gets real, right? The consequences are already being felt. We're not just talking about warnings, we're talking about actual tsunami waves, 40 to 70 centimeters, hitting multiple ports. And you have this persistent official warning that seismic activity is still way higher than normal. So the key thing to realize here is that this isn't over. It's an ongoing situation, and the full extent of the damage isn't even known yet. Okay, so let's shift gears. We're going from a test of a country's disaster preparedness to a very different kind of test, one for corporate and regulatory systems. Our second major story is this incredible aviation crisis unfolding in India with its largest airline, Indigo. Now, to really get what's going on here, you need to know this one acronym, FDTL. It stands for Flight Duty Time Limitations. But all you really need to know is that these are the safety rules. They're designed to make sure pilots don't get too tired, to make sure the person flying your plane is actually alert and well-rested. Super important. So, here's what happened. On November 1st, those rules changed. The mandatory rest period for pilots jumped from 36 hours a week to 48 hours. Now, for an airline like Indigo, which famously runs on a super lean, super efficient crew model built around the old rules, that's a gigantic operational earthquake. And this is where the dominoes just start to fall one after another. The airline's business model, which was so perfectly tuned to the old rules, just couldn't handle the new safety standards. Poof. Suddenly, there's a massive crew shortage. That leads to hundreds of flights being canceled, which strands thousands and thousands of passengers smack in the middle of peak travel season. It was a complete systemic failure. So, of course, the regulators had to step in. The DGCA, which is India's main aviation authority, sent a notice to Indigo's top brass basically demanding, what is going on? Indigo replied, blaming a, quote, compounding effect of a bunch of different factors. And now the regulators are looking at that response and promising strict action. And if you want to get a sense of just how huge the impact on passengers was, just look at this number. Over 827 crore rupees. That's how much money the airline has had to process in refunds for all those people left stranded. It's a staggering financial price to pay for a system that just buckled under pressure. So, let's pull back for a second and bring this all together. We've got an earthquake on one side and a total airline meltdown on the other. What's the real signal here? What connects these two very different crises? Here it is. This is the crucial point. Whether it's a force of nature or a massive failure of corporate planning, both events are extreme stress tests. One is testing a nation's emergency response and its infrastructure.
The other is testing a company's ability to adapt and a regulator's power to enforce rules. Both of them expose the hidden cracks in the complex systems we rely on every single day.
And that really just leaves us with this final question. The next time you're scrolling through all those headlines, what's the difference between just another story and one that has this kind of deep systemic importance? Maybe what truly matters isn't just what happened, but what that event reveals about the world that we've all built.